serious, why do you buy OnlyFans content when adult content is available online for free? I bought a subscription once because I fancied a particular person and was curious what she had posted on there. I cancelled after a month though. Was it worth it? Yeah, pretty much. A few dollars for thousands of pictures and tons of videos. I squeezed my hog like 5,000 times to it, so well worth the money, but I got a little tired of the same person, so that is when I cancelled. Because you really want to see what that girl from university's tits look like. Mass-produced porn starts to feel fake after 12 months of social isolation. Also, I'm sick of opening a site and seeing 17-step sibling parent videos. I do not even get why people like step porn. You know it is fake. The maker knows it is fake. Everyone knows it is fake. At this point I am willing to believe that people watch step porn videos because they really like half of all the videos, and then producers data shows that people like step porn. So they keep putting out more and more, and the cycle continues. When these videos starting popping up a few years back, I was between apartments and staying at my parents'. Knowing how the sites will recommend videos based on your IP history, I thought my parents or sister had an incest fetish until it became apparent that it was just the new trend in porn. Anyways, I'm pretty sure you are right about the analytics. Some people get off to pretty niche or custom content, and they likely have exhausted all of their free options. It is the same reason you might pay for a Patreon for a podcast, even though there are a plethora of free podcasts out there. You like someone's shtick, and you want more of it. To add, not just wanting more, but some people feel obligated to pay for content if they use it. I used to think like OP. Then I realized I'm subbed to Twitch streamers just because I use them for entertainment and feel like they deserve it. Absolutely. I'm sure OP pays for something that can be found for free because they have a special affinity for it. It just happens not to be porn. I will pay for porn, but I would not pay for a hardcover book. It is a custom content and library life for me. Depends what your particular tastes are. With some girls you are able to have a dialogue or make requests. It is easier to think of the person as a real person and note that you are supporting them as an original content provider. I did it because it helped me find proof that my fiancé was cheating on me. Adult content is easily available, but quality adult content is tougher to find. In particular, I have never found professional porn arousing, rather comical. I used to watch a lot of porn on Stube. That was one of a kind website, but now 90% of content is gone. Of course I have downloaded most of videos I liked, but there will be no new ones, unless Zamster switches focus from general porn to amateur porn. I have not paid for porn yet, but I can certainly see myself doing this. Same here. A lot of the professional stuff just doesn't work for me. I have never subscribed for but the professional porn just turns me off. The women don't ever seem to be enjoying it. If anything, they seem like they are doing it for a job, which is exactly what they are doing. And there's nothing intimate about that. And so it doesn't turn me on. I just go to amateur stuff on PH. For the same reason you ask a technical question of an online forum, rather than just googling it. It is more personal and responsive. As someone who has never used the site, how does it even work? Are you able to search for specific people, or do you need to go directly to their page? I wish there was a comprehensive guide on how it works. When I went to it on my phone, it looks like you can barely search for anything, and professional accounts are shoved in your face to subscribe to. Nah man. I want the girl next door or that hot co-worker in accounting, not generic hot girl pics. I have never bought anything from but in the era of YouTube, Twitch, and other personality-driven content creators, I simply cannot fathom why so much of the internet is so surprised that people would spend money to support a content creator they like, just because that content is adult. If this was a question about why people spend money on Patreon, despite that content being available elsewhere for free, either legit or pirated, it would not get nearly as much traction. But this question seems to show up anytime someone discusses personalities are why people watch Twitch streamers or YouTube commentators, and that seems to be totally accepted. So why do not people understand that personality drives horniness too? It is just another example of sex work being treated as lesser than other jobs. This question just is not asked, or at least not as frequently, and with so little challenge about other forms of content creation. Sex work is still work, and people deserve to be paid for it. Just because you are jerking it in private because the world tells you to be embarrassed about masturbation does not mean the people making your porn do not deserve to be paid for it, just like the people making that YouTube video you share with your friends. Given how scared advertisers are to have their ads associated with adult content, which is ducking rich considering how sex driven so much advertising is, being able to directly pay the creators is useful. Just like Patreon for YouTubers that make controversial content that gets them demonetized. On top of that, it helps legitimize the creation of adult content and makes it more transparent, which should help curtail the more exploitative side of adult content creation. I feel like paying a person for adult content they created and marketed themselves is much more ethical than having a wank to pirated clips on a tube site, or even worse, the amateur stuff of questionable source and legality that is floating around out there. You may as well ask, why do you pay to see a movie when you can just pirate it? But in that case, people do not seem to have an issue with the idea of financially rewarding the people involved in the creation of content they like in order to incentivize the creation of more content they like. And at least when you pirate the Avengers, you know you are not accidentally watching someone being raped, and that everyone in the Avengers consented to that film being available publicly, which is something you cannot say about a lot of free porn. I do not pay for it, but I do purchase digital music from bands and artists that I like. Even though I could get it for free, I want to support their work and encourage them to keep creating music. It gives a feeling of legitimacy and a sense of ownership over my digital music library. If I really love a band or an album, I will buy physical copies of their work. I'm not going to run with this analogy though. Honestly, it's really hard to know the person making the content is doing it by themselves for themselves. Free websites tend to be exploitative, but it actually protects the people making the content. Plus, porn is awesome. Why not pay to get exactly what you're looking for and to support some pretty women? This is what I came to point out. Of sites are typically operated by the person on them. These are people who have made the active decision to put their body on the internet. The free stuff online is far too often linked to sex trafficking and or other abusive behaviors, or is posted without the person's consent. Of means subscribers are paying performers directly for their work instead of potentially funding traffickers, abusers, and rapists. Obviously not all people in the porn industry are psychopaths, but enough are that I don't really ever want to look at porn. Seems to be the best way currently to make sure you're not looking at someone being exploited. To make sure you are paying someone who is willingly doing this, instead of watching ads that give money to PRNHB, knowing that they accept any content without checking where it comes from, and would not remove it when sometimes underage girls tell them that they did not consent to the video of their sometimes rape video being posted. Just a matter of being responsible in the adult content you watch and who you give money to. I have not actually subscribed to more of a smut gal, but I like the idea of it better than sites like Pornhub. With large sites like that, I often feel a little uneasy about the ethics of it. There have been plenty of people taken advantage of via those sites, revenge porn and the like. I do not know how well the people involved were treated, and I do not like the overall porn industry. However, I do respect individual sex workers. Is based on consent, which I appreciate. I know the people have voluntarily done this, and I know the money goes to them aside from whatever the platform takes. Like, I'm sure there are exceptions. I'm sure some people are pressured into doing but I feel more reasonably assured that it benefits the creator. In general, I support sex workers, but not the industry at large. I do not pay for I consume other content that I support, but I believe one should support the actors one likes to watch. Even more important, even if someone enjoys a specific type of content, a certain person or even a certain brand, all involved parties need a way to survive financially, so paying for that commodity is just reasonable. Keeping in mind that the industry at large is notorious for exploitation, terrible wages and overall very scummy behavior, misuse of content, and underpaying models. means of is a very valid alternative. An alternative where power lies with the creators and more of the money ends up where it should be. I do not necessarily agree to individual pricing decision, but the overall concept is great and it is working. For looks. Mostly, these days I can be pretty picky with my adult content that it takes an hour to look for that one perfect clip with that perfect model. So when you find a model who you enjoy, it can save you a lot of research hours every month. Then there is the reason of curiosity, wanting to see that specific person naked even for once. Then there is people who feel emotionally invested to a person, a streamer or YouTuber you have been following and watching for months or even years. You think you can get even more connected to the person with personal messages and dirty talk. As a content creator, I've been told it is because fans can actually interact and talk to us. We provide the fantasy and make it personal. You can get that from all the free stuff available on the net. Also, as others have said, it's just a way of showing appreciation and support for someone you enjoy watching. Making content does take time and work, filming, editing, equipment, etc. Not to mention, even if we enjoy what we do, nobody wants to work for free all the time. We have bills that have to be paid in order to post the content, internet, mobile, etc. And some people actually appreciate and understand that it really is work, and so they help support what we do. For that we say thank you, and we make it personal for our fans. So in my opinion, that is why. Several reasons I could think of: a specific person they fancy, a specific fetish that is not widely available, company porn feels too artificial, even the real ones. They want to support the actors and not the company behind the site, which more often than not are quite scummy. Some offer the ability to order custom content. The actors are more approachable and feel less like actors and more like friends or just someone you know that you just happen to watch getting it on. Many of creators invest much more work in their products than big companies. Update frequency, even if it's just hey I am taking a day off and I'm on a hike, here's my butthole. There may be many more, and depending on personal preference these might not justify it, but those were the one I came up with spontaneously. I used to see a lot of burlesque shows and always tipped well, as you should. No shows due to pandemic and most of the performers I liked haven't of now. So I subscribed to them using the money I used to use for tipping. Same reason I do not pirate nature documentaries. I want them to continue to be made at high quality and someone needs to pay for that to happen. Why do you become a public radio member when you can listen for free? Not sure why this is at all hard to understand. I have had a few friends talk about how it makes them feel better about the ethics of it all. Lots of sites have zero oversight and a lot of non-consensual supposedly private stuff gets posted, along with people who are underaged. The porn industry is terrible to performers, especially women, and nobody really does anything about it. Pays people and gives them control over their videos and is well vetted, and so people feel better about it viewing and consuming it. I would, because certain models only share a limited amount of content for free and tease some really good content on thereof. It is more of an issue of providing my credit card info and having to do so much verification of makes me send in my face and ID, like WTF, that it prevents me from even wanting to go through with it. Because they offer tailored services for reasonable rates, you can interact with them, you get to know them, and they get to understand how they can better serve you. Are a sex worker. There is far too much taboo in sex work. They are just trying to make money while providing an overwhelmingly positive service. And no joke, as a conservative I love it. I'm not joking when I say that I know I've supported a lot of people through the pandemic, men and women. I know several that have found new careers. This is a new sector in America and we should embrace it into capitalism. Crazy idea, right? Because the people who create content for you are likely doing so more ethically than the porn you are downloading, and you should support the ventures of people who provide a service to you. I know there is a weird tendency for guys to dehumanize the people in porn, but like, Jesus man. Pay the people for duck's sake, lol, they are trying to pay rent in a pandemic too. I've seen this question before, and I always have the same answer. Free porn is like going to the grocery store. You lines find what you need, but it lines be standard. like the Little Debbie or Endmans of porn. Paid porn is like the farmer's market. There's not as much and it's more expensive. But it's that homegrown, non-GMO, pesticide-free shit. You are only looking at the forest for the trees. It is more than just paying for porn. It is supporting a person or small business that caters to your interests instead of those big soulless companies who proven time after time how little they give a damn about their employees' health or their reputation. People who are already frequent users of pornography need novel stimulation according to Coolidge effect. Not take this as 100% accurate science, by the way. Also, people want more customizable type of pornography where the user feel like he has a take on the type of content that will be made. Basically is a collective exploitation of the individual creating the pornographic material. I would like to add that the creator of the pornographic material is usually an individual who needs the money and is also horny, gets satisfaction in some way doing this. So she is inadvertently utilizing biological behavioral needs in a way that creates this artificial market that is obviously going to end up like many boom and bust pun intended markets. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.